certainly your efforts and deeds are diverse, different in aims and purposes. As for him who gives in charity and keeps his duty to Allah and fears him and believes in Al-Husna, we will make smooth for him the path of ease, goodness. But he who is greedy, miser, and thinks himself self-sufficient and gives the lie to Al-Husna, we will make smooth for him the path for evil. This contains refutation against the Jabarites, who reject the actions of the servants and their volition. The position of the people of the Sunnah and the Jama'ah is the proven according to the Quran and the Sunnah, and that is the middle course between the views of the Jabarites and the Qadarites. Hence, one must believe in the Qadar in all these categories. Whoever claims that there is no preordainment, that the servants create their own actions and not Allah's preordainment, such as the Mu'tazilites, if such a person holds this view knowing the proofs that negate it but rejects them and sticks to his position, such is undoubtedly a disbeliever. But if he is a blind follower or an ignorant one, for such it will be explained to him. If he insists upon disbelief in the Qadr, the ruling will be given on his disbelief. In the case where he is an ignorant or a blind follower, he will not be declared a disbeliever right away. The matter will be explained and made clear to him. If he turns in repentance, then all praise and thanks belong to Allah. But if he persists, then he is a disbeliever. It is not sufficient to believe in the Qadr and Qadr alone. One must act and not absolutely bank on the Qadr and Qadr and say, if Allah has preordained it for me, it will happen, and if He has not preordained it, then it will not happen. There is no need working as the Jabarites opine. This is incorrect, for Allah has ordered seeking means and carrying out actions. He has ordered making efforts at obedience to Him. So one should not absolutely depend on Qadr and Qadr. Rather, he should act, move and seek what is good and leave evil. He will not be rewarded for Qadr and Qadr, but for his actions, his efforts, and what he earns for himself, his wills, intentions, and goals. He will be held accountable for his deeds. If they are good, then he gets good, and if evil, he gets evil. These are the pillars of Iman and the pillars of Islam. Islam and the Iman are two great levels from the levels of the Deen. When they come together such that Islam and Iman are both mentioned, Islam is explained to refer to the apparent actions, and Iman is explained to refer to the actions of the heart, as in this hadith. The hadith of Umar and his saying, verily the Muslims men and women, the believers men and woman. But if one of them is mentioned alone, the other is necessarily implied. So, if Islam is mentioned alone, Iman is implied as well, since Islam cannot be right except with Iman. And if Iman is mentioned singularly, Islam is implied, since Iman cannot be correct except with Islam. Both matters must come together, and one of them is not beneficial without the other. Thus, there is no Islam without Iman, and no Iman without Islam. That is, the apparent actions will not suffice without those of the heart, and the actions of the heart will not suffice without those of the limbs. Based on this, the scholars say when Islam and Iman are mentioned together, they differ in their meaning. So Islam is explained as being such and such, and Iman as such and such. But when one of them is mentioned alone, then the other is implied. Here it is appropriate to mention the ruling pertaining to a person who persists upon one of the major sins other than shirk, joining partners with Allah. Will he be referred to as a Muslim or a mu'min, or he will not be called a Muslim or mu'min? The position of the people of the Sunnah and the Jama'ah, which is the correct view, is that the one who persists upon one of the major sins other than shirk is also called a mu'min deficient in Iman. This is because Iman increases with righteous acts and reduces with sinful acts, as is pointed to by evidence. Allah the Most High says, the believers are only those who, when Allah is mentioned, feel a fear in their hearts, and when His verses, this Quran, are recited unto them, the verses, increase their faith. So it points to the fact that Iman increases. It is not one static thing. Allah the Exalted said, and the believers may increase in Iman, faith. Mudattir. He also said,